Yeah.
She a
Yeah.
problem. You know who else is a problem though? Mike
Uh-oh.
Malone was a problem.
Hey, Mike Malone, he was an issue. Mike Malone was an issue, bro.
I know Lakers Nation is happy today, but
Man,
but Mike Malone got fired out of nowhere. We talking about like 4 games before the playoffs, 3 games for the
mhm,
playoffs. The Nuggets are sitting with whole court advantage. Obviously, we look at the losing column, it's different. But
mhm.
right now, they got home court advantage in the playoffs. What's going on, AJ? We had a topic set. Are Denver Nuggets pretenders or contenders? And then the NBA say, AJ, I got something better for you. We're going to fire Mike Malone and the GM. I got two for LeBron say. They give me
I
one
got,
more.
give me one more. Give me one more.
Here go the GM too. All right. So AJ, what do you make of this? Like, was it right? Was it wrong? I mean, are you shocked? Talk to me.
Who's your daddy? That's all I got. Who's your daddy? Ain't that what he was saying? They beat the Lakers. Who's your daddy? All the Nuggets fans in the stands. Who's your daddy? All the other stuff for
Man,
that one championship that they won, that one ring that they got. Now they who's your daddy and all this other stuff. Listen, I'm not gonna lie. I want to troll the mess out of Mike Malone today. I want to troll the mess out of Mike Malone because of how he talked about my team, how he talked about the Lakers for that playoff run that he went on, and for the fact that they've been stumping us out the last couple of years. I give credit where it's due. But honestly, if I put that to the side, I'm stunned. And I think this was a terrible decision. I think this was a terrible decision. Mike Malone, one thing I can say about Mike Malone. Yeah, he got his antics. Yeah, he do his trolling. Yeah, he gonna say what he gonna say. He gonna move how he gonna move, especially when it comes to the Lakers, right? But he a damn good coach. I still think he one of the best coaches in the league, and he just won a championship not even a full 2 years ago, bro. Like he just won last year. They was the defending champions, and they got knocked off by a hungry Wolves team in 7 games. Ain't like they went out there and folded against Minnesota. Now, yeah, they gave up a 20-point lead in game 7, but at the end of the day, it came down to the wire in game 7 with a chance to advance to the Western Conference Finals. I'm looking at this like what this move tells me is, like you said, Joe, the question today that I had, because I've been watching the Nuggets as of late, I'm like, their defense don't look good. Their energy is not there. Obviously, Jamal Murray being out hurts. Jokic putting up insane 50-point triple-double, 60-point triple-double, 40-point triple-double, and they still lose. And I'm like, Joe, are they pretenders or are they contenders? Because a lot of people still think they're contenders. But what this move did for me is it answered the question for me. Because the Nuggets ownership told me, we think they pretenders. You don't make a move like this if you believe this team is good enough to win a championship. It's no way. You don't make this move unless you look at the team and you say, you know what? We ready to move in a different direction because this team ain't going to win right now. It's not going to happen. And I think a lot of us still, again, it was a question because they just won a championship. So a lot of us still thought maybe when they get Jamal back, they can still make a run. Maybe when they do it, they get in the playoffs, they can flip that switch. They can flip to another, because we've seen Denver flip the switch before in the playoffs, right, and be a different team than they are in the regular season. Most notably, Jamal Murray, when he get in the playoffs, he is not the same player he is in the regular season. So some people are like, maybe they could flip that switch, right, and be that team in the playoffs, especially with the West being as tight as it is. I mean, you look at the West before they made this firing. I was going to come over here and say they was pretenders. But before they made this fire, at the same time, what I also was going to say is it benefits them the kind of conference that they're in because it's so up for grabs. OKC is OKC. We give them credit for that. We're going to talk about them in a hot second. But let's just take OKC out of it for a second. Who else couldn't they beat? Like, you could make an argument for every other team in the West they could potentially beat. You could. And so, again, this move shows me that ownership said, you know what, we don't see it. We have seen the Nuggets after they win the championship get a little worse year by year. It's not all about Jokic. It's not all about Jamal Murray. It's about them other guys. It's about guys like KCP. It's about guys like Bruce Brown. It's about guys like Jeff Green. And when you let all of those guys go, and you just really left with, Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray, and Jokic, and you expecting them to carry the weight, we saw last year it was tough. We saw this year it's been a little tough, and that's why I believe that's why the GM out the door. From what I've seen, him and Mike Malone had a lot of disagreements. Mike Malone wanted to hold on to some players. He wanted to play some older guys. The GM wanted some young guys in there, and ownership said, you know what, it ain't working with neither one of y'all. I want both of y'all gone. So in that way, I feel like Mike Malone kind of got the bad end of the deal because I think he wanted to keep that championship core together, whereas the GM simply didn't, and it cost him on the back end. But on the flip side, karma is a bad word. Karma is a bad word, man. And I wish Mike Malone the best, but it's crazy how I flip on you. At one point, you at the top of the world, and you think y'all gonna repeat, y'all gonna be this and that and this. Next thing you know, you're getting bounced out of the playoffs in the second round by the Wolves. You handling it bad in the press conference afterwards. We ain't forget about that. Our season's over. What do you mean? Our season's over. Snapping on the reporters, storming out and all of that. And now you out of a job. And what makes it worse, Joe, what makes it worse is this. This is not at the beginning of the season. This is not at the end of the season. What makes this move even worse is, like you said, they're in the 4th seed, but it broken down a certain way. Technically, they the 7th seed because the Wolves have tiebreakers over like everybody besides the Lakers. And so technically they're like, if it ended like right now, technically they would somehow, some way be the 7th seed. But bro, the playoffs is next week. To fire the man, I can't get with it. To fire the man right before the playoffs and not even give him a chance. I know y'all might not believe they could get it done. And I know I might believe they pretenders for sure. But to fire the man right before the playoffs, bro, the winningest coach in Denver Nuggets history, the one who delivered a championship, the one that he gets your best players to play well. He might be a little rough around the edges with how he talks to the media and how he talks to his players. But to get rid of a guy that established in your organization a week before the playoffs just shows like they got no faith that this team is going to make any noise in the playoffs. And I think it's one thing as analysts to say that, Joe. It's another thing for the ownership to be like, no, we agree. We want a new coach and we want a new GM. I think it's crazy. I think it's a bad move. I think if you make this move, you make it in the offseason. But this was and my bad. I'll say this, Joe. Last thing I'll say is this. On my way to work this morning, we talk about our topics. A lot of times I use my drive to work to think of stuff like what's on my mind. What do I want to talk about today? What's fresh? What's hot? And when I thought about the Nuggets topic, I thought to myself, because we just saw Taylor Jenkins get let go for Memphis. I'm like, man, it would be crazy if Denver decided to move on from Mike Malone. But that thought was in and out quick because I'm like, he just won a championship. They go into the playoffs. Like, I'm sure Jokic and Murray, they back him. So that thought didn't last long. So when you sent that text, I was like,
crazy.
Wow. But hey, who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? That's all I want to know today. That's all I want to know.
And it's funny because when we fired Mike Brown, he had a lot to say, which was true. And then they fired him, even worse.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree with what you said about the timing of the firing. Like, give him a chance to finish the season. I don't get these end of the season firings. Like,
yeah,
what's the point? Finish the season and make and it affects the team. Unless the whole team was down for it, we need him gone. Outside of that, let him finish the season out and then all season start over. But AJ, I understand the firing. I actually do understand it. Mike Malone, great guy. Jamal Murray gets hurt. He put Jamal Murray on his shoulders. Basically said, yo, I got you. I'm going to be here with you. You're going to be one of our key guys. Jamal Murray, he believed in Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray became who he was, won an NBA championship. I get all that. Jokic, he loves his horses, right? My man, Mike Malone flew all the way to Serbia and watched his horses win a race. He loves the team. He's a good dude. He cares. But that's only half the game, AJ. The other half is the X's and O's. AJ, when you watch the Nuggets and Jokic is not in the game, how good they look? Terrible. They are a one-man show. They are Jokic or bust. If Jokic is not playing well, they lose. Y'all beat them because Jokic didn't play well. They lost. So listen to this. Jokic has a plus minus of 540. I'm gonna give you the top 10 plus minus in the NBA. SGA, Evan Mobley, tied with Jokic at number 2. Lou Dort, Derek White, Spider, Jason Tatum, Isaiah Joe, Jared Allen, Darius Garland. You see something similar to everybody on this list?
They all at the top, but the Nuggets. Their teams are.
The Cleveland Cavaliers, the Boston Celtics, and OKC Thunder. And you got Jokic sitting right there in second. But Denver is always back, like you said, really the 7th seed. Why is that? Because outside of Jokic, if he's not on the floor, they're garbage. Jokic in April, 45 points a game, 12.3 rebounds, 10.7 assists, two steals a game, while shooting 62% from the field, 45% from 3, and he got 0 wins. How is that even possible? How can I average 45 points a game, triple-double, and I don't have a win? It's because outside of you, nothing's going on. So I understand that. But a part of the problem is the GM. I think the reason why they got rid of Mike Malone, because when a new GM comes in, he normally gets his guys. But like you said, do that in the offseason. But the GM is horrible. I mean, you had Bruce Brown, and what you do? You let him walk. Did you sign anybody else? No, you didn't. You had KCP, a sharpshooter, 3-and-D guy, a perfect person next to Jokic. If you got a guy named like Jokic who wants to pass the ball but will also score and rebound, you put shooters around him. Like, what are you doing? What do you do with KCP? You let him walk. Did you replace him? No. Oh, yes, you did. You got Westbrook. Don't get me wrong. Westbrook's playing well, but he's not a sharpshooter. He's not. You got to put guys around him that fits his game. Like Luka, when you put some shooters around and rebounds around Luka, he got to the finals. I mean, that's how it works. When Luka got to the Western Conference Finals, he had guys like Tim Hardaway Jr., like them guys couldn't miss. So you got to put shooters around your LeBron James. LeBron James is at his best when he has shooters. Look at Miami Heat. You had D-Wade and LeBron, 2 guys who want to slide. You put shooters all around them, it's curtains. That's what you need with Jokic. Jokic, he wants to pass the ball. So I understand the firing, especially from the GM. The GM needed to go. I think he was on a hot seat more than Mike Malone. I don't understand why he didn't get fired. And you know what's funny, AJ? A little quick story for people that don't know this. When I text you about the news, my second text to you was what? A screenshot of me putting Mike Malone on the hot seat. I was literally saying I was going to make a not your average top 5 people, not players, people who has pressure this season to do something. And Mike Malone was on that list. Who else on that list? OKC Thunder Coast. We're going to get to that in a second. But he was on the hot seat because they're Jokic. Like, without Jokic, like, he literally carried everything. And lastly, Jamal Murray, he might be gone next year. He's too injury prone. He's unreliable now. And we talking about playoff Murray. I mean, I know he had 2 game winners on AD last year, but was he really good last year in the playoffs? No.
He had some moments against the Wolves.
Moments. But overall, he got strapped by Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards put that boy in a car seat, and he thought he was going to Kyrie Irving, but it was a different story. But my point is, Jamal Murray wasn't the same last year in the playoffs. Everybody's excited about those 2 game winners on AD, but you go back and watch that series, Jamal Murray wasn't great. So I do think that the GM move was good, but firing Mike Malone right now, it's like, come on, man. Like, finish the season off. I know Dave put a report and said that Jokic, he didn't like the defensive stuff that Mike Malone was doing. Like, they were bumping his too, which is crazy to hear, but I'm okay with the firing, not with the timing of it.
See, this is the thing. Everything that you said, more so is on the GM than it's on Mike Malone, except for the last thing you said. Now, that's another thing I was gonna get to before I passed it to you. If there's issues between him and Jokic and him and Jamal Murray, we having different conversations. Because one of the first things that came to mind is like this type of firing. It had to be something going on behind the scenes with the players. Because from what you hear, he is very animated in the locker room. He be going in on, he be going off. He be a coach. He be letting them. He be brutally honest and telling them that they full of stuff, and you know what I mean. Like after the last game, he let him have it, and we don't know how that went over with them. And he said it ain't my job to make sure it go over with them well. It's my job to be brutally honest with them. But at the same time, Joe, like I said before, coming into this season, as somebody who, as a Laker fan, has watched the Denver Nuggets run through my Lakers for like 3 straight years now, I know how their team is, but their team starts and ends with Jokic. It's always been like that. But it's also about the supporting cast. So like I said before, when the GM decided to let Bruce Brown go and to let Jeff Green go and to let KCP go and then bring in Westbrook at the bruh, before the season started, I was in the chat. I said, Denver not doing nothing this year. They not doing, because they're going to be too heavily reliant on Jokic and too heavily reliant on Jamal Murray. And when you need Russ, he ain't going to be there. Russ is most effective when it's just him out there. I've been saying it for years, bro. Russ will go out there and get you 30, 11, and 11 if it's just him and nobody else. But the moment he got to fit in with someone else, it worked for a little bit. But then after a while, we see the turnovers. After a while, we see the bad shots. After a while, we see the chemistry. Then he out in the interviews sound like he's just speaking for. I wish I had the clip. But his most recent interview sound like he's just speaking for himself. Hey, Russ, you think the sense of urgency is gonna be up with the team? I don't know. I know my sense of urgency is up. I can't speak for everybody in the locker room. Like stuff like that. It's like, but I already knew going into this season, they in a bit of trouble. They just got bounced last year and they didn't improve this offseason. They simply did not improve. So if now we don't know if it's true that Mike Malone and the GM bumped heads a lot and they didn't agree on a lot of the decisions being made, but at the end of the day, he's the GM. He's going to do his job the best way he sees fit. Then that puts Mike Malone in a situation where I just got to work with what I got. I got to work with what I got. All I have, for real, is Michael Porter Jr. when he wants to show up. Aaron Gordon, when he wanted his shots from the outside, sit in that dunker spot and get layups and dunks at the rim. Jokic, and Jamal Murray. Outside of that, that's all I got. So if Jamal Murray, right now, he's not playing. If Jamal Murray not there and you putting more onus on Russell Westbrook now and Jokic, bruh, they lucky to be where they at. They lucky to be in the 4th seed right now. Technically, they lucky. That's why I said I don't think it was right to get rid of Mike Malone, not only now, but in general. Because it might not be perfect, but they ain't built to win no championship right now. Ain't no head coach you can insert in this situation and say, now they go win the championship. It's not a coach in the league. Now, maybe he appeals to the players better. Maybe the players play a little bit harder, but they not winning. If the goal is to win the championship, this roster as presently constructed not winning no championship. But if you kept them pieces, they might be the 2 or 1 seed again. Even if you kept KCP, somebody who can hit shots, him and Michael Porter Jr. on the outside, man, just that one extra shooter, bro. Snipers, bro, was killer. Even if you kept him, maybe you got a better shot. But now, man, you too reliant on your guys, and then when one of them go down with injury, now you really stuck. Like you said, Jamal Murray, man, very, very injury prone. That's why I kind of feel for Mike Malone, bro, because like it's hard for me to put a ton of blame on Mike Malone when you ain't even got your second best guy and you relying on somebody who just you don't know what you're gonna get from Russ game in and game out, bro. You don't. That game against the Timberwolves, he single-handedly blew the game. And what I will say, and what I will say for the people who watch what I do with Four Wolves Takes, one thing I pointed out on Four Wolves Takes is, you see the difference between coaching. Because Coach Finch, at the end of those games, he was having troubles drawing up plays coming out of timeouts, bro. He was not able to get Anthony Edwards, Julius Randle, and those guys clean looks. Denver's defense was all over the place, stopping everything that they tried to do, which wasn't a lot, but stopping everything that they tried to do. And everything that the Nuggets wanted, from every switch to every shot that they wanted to get off in that game, just talking about that game, in that double overtime game, they got. And I was on Four Wolves Takes like, look, man, Coach Finch, he's got to improve coming out of timeouts, because you go up against elite coaches like Mike Malone, who know how to draw it up, who gonna know what you're doing offensively, who gonna know what you doing defensively. They gonna exploit your mismatches, and they gonna get buckets. I feel like Mike Malone did the best he could with what he was given. That's how I honestly feel, bro. I feel like he did the best he could with what he was given. And you know, I don't like Mike Malone, but that's just me being honest.
For real. Yeah.
That's just me being honest, bro. I don't know what you losing those key pieces. I don't know what people expected from him this year. It was gonna be Jokic, Jamal Murray, or bust, and you just hope Russell Westbrook, if Jamal Murray get hurt, Russell Westbrook can come in and get you a couple wins. You hopeful, but we see how that's going.
Yeah, I watched Forward Take too, and you had an issue with Anthony Edwards in the game too. His shot selection and all that. Well, his shot making ability also at the end of the game. But you know, like I look at last year in the playoffs, that team was good enough to beat Minnesota. But I remember watching that series without Jokic on the floor, they were horrible. And Jokic was only a plus 12, plus my I don't know the team, but he was plus 12. I can only imagine what the team is. This year, they are minus 200 plus without Jokic on the floor. That's not good.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Not good. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, Jokic was like, he's top 2 in the league right now. And go ahead.
My bad. I was gonna say, see, but the difference in that series against the Nuggets or against the Wolves, bro, the margin of error was already slim, bro. Bruce Brown came out and said, even though we beat them guys in 5 games the year before, they was our toughest challenge. Like, and then he was one of the initiators, like one of those like low key initiators, get everybody in their spots, make the right pass. He ain't gonna go out there and get you 10 assists a game, but he was one of those like dirty work guys that, you know, when Jokic wasn't in the game, I ain't gonna say he offensively carried by any stretch, but he was the guy that kind of helped facilitate. I just think you lost over time. You lost too many key role players. You lost too many key role players. I do agree. I think they were good enough to beat the Wolves, but I just think that margin was slim, bro. It was a coin flip. It was a coin flip.
They beat y'all from 5 games, but it was a close 5 games. Y'all beat them by a total of 11 points.
Come on, bro. I mean? Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. Oh, my goodness.
I mean, so like that's my thing. Like, okay, Mike Malone, like, okay, I get what you're saying. The GM put him in. He dealt him a bad hand, basically. And he had to try to make something out of nothing, right? So I get that part of it because I'm all for it. The GM did a terrible job surrounding Jokic with talent, but it also seemed like he lost the locker room, especially his post game comment, like he said last game, saying that people don't watch film. That's crazy. When he said that, I was like, dang.
Yeah, he was going in.
He said people don't watch tape on themselves. Like, I mean. Come on, like the basketball league I'm in, we record the games. I watch every game after game. Who's on draw? So I know if you're an NBA player and it's about to be playoff time and you want to get better. I mean, they play these 2 games together. That's different. But you know what I'm saying though. So when he said that, I was like, whoa. And it's funny because when Mike Brown got fired, he criticized Fox in his last press conference. Then he got fired. So just don't criticize your players, I guess.
That's crazy, but it's like sometimes it's on these players, man. I mean, my goodness. And if anybody had the cachet to do it, it's the guy who just won the championship 2 years ago. You know what I mean? But it's
the greatest. And then, you know, they had guys like George Karl, all them good coaches who never won. Man. That was their first championship. So that is crazy. But what I thought
disrespectful.